Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Late Drop presented by Futures. From tow partners to safety teams, leggies to flotation vests, when it comes to big waves, trust is everything. Same goes for fins, and Futures is a fin system big wave surfers have trusted the most for the last 25 years. Trust me, when it's on, there's no other option. Ride Futures. And today's guest, from fast cars to giant waves, Ross Clarke-Jones only knows one speed, and that's full throttle. Today we talk story about his near-death experience at Nazare and what it's like to win the Eddie Cow Invitational at Maxed Out Waimea. Hope you enjoy the podcast.
I always get the first wave.
Pretty much it brought me to tears, like the wave was so good.
That's the biggest drop I've ever taken in my life.
And so right there I told myself I needed to just relax and stay calm, that I'm stronger than this.
All right, Ross Clarke-Jones, welcome to The Late Drop, my man. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Jamie, for having me.
Yeah, mate. What's been happening? Look at you. You're all rugged up. It's like freezing.
Mate,
Tell us what...
It's 11 degrees down here. We're in lockdown, stage 3 in Victoria, stage 4 in Melbourne. It's like a state of emergency down here, but I mean, we're okay in Phillip Island. There's no cases down here apparently. But, you know, I've been locked down since freaking May last year because of my broken ankle.
Yeah. It's just, isn't it crazy? Like Hawaii just went into another phase of lockdown as well. And it's just, like, it's so ridiculous. Like, I'm not sure what the government, I've been seeing what the government, give or take, people got to do what they got to do. But, we can't go and hang at the beach here. Like, you can't go you can't go and put your towel down. You can go to the water and swim and work out, but you can't hang out, right? But you can go to Walmart with 1,000 of the unhealthiest people in the world, but you can't go to the beach and exercise. Like, you know what I mean? It's like this... Yeah. This weird, crazy thing. So we've just gone on another level lockdown here as well. And I've been following Australia too because my mum and dad and stuff are still there and obviously a lot of friends. And it's just, it blows my mind. I try not to watch the news too much because it does my head in.
Oh, I'm addicted to it every day. I just can't, the cases that, it's like waiting for the cases and waiting for the deaths. I go, when's it going to end? Or is it going to end? I don't know. I'm not going to get too political because I'll just abide by the rules. Have to wear a mask. You have to get a coffee. You can sip it without the mask. It's just weird. It'll take a bit of getting used to, I think. But I think if everyone does it, I mean, what's a mask? Fuck, whatever. Yeah. I mean, people getting fined for not wearing masks down here and. Police getting really angry, and it's been heavy. I've been removed from it because I've been in Phillip Island in my compound, so I'm okay.
Yeah. And so are you guys able to surf and stuff? So can you get out and if you want to, can you go and surf? Like
if I could, I haven't been surfing because my ankle.
The ankle.
But guys are surfing. It's okay. They're going surfing and not gathering. You can just go for a surf and get out. There's no one talking around the car park or anything, everyone's abiding by the rules, which is at least we can surf down here. I can't, and it's killing me, and it's been too long for me.
Oh, I can't imagine you being locked, like on top of the survivor. We'll get into that later. The survivor injury, and then now this. It's like a double lockdown, and then for you too, like coming to Hawaii every single year. You missed last year, and then potentially not going again this year, 2 years in a row. I can imagine it's just like, what the hell?
Yeah, I know. That's where I started getting really. I got the anxiety and like, fuck, I'm not going to be able to go this year at all. It seems like Qantas have announced there's no flights leaving Australia until maybe next year, June next year.
It's crazy.
And it's like, as Alan Joyce says, it's a political thing, not science. But I'm not here to judge. So
yeah.
it's kind of. I've just been toing and froing, going, look, I've got the froth going. I want to do it again, and then I feel like I can't because I can't go there, like I can't fly there, and then I can't physically do it from a leg, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm just been going, is it time to give up? I'm going, fuck no. I'm coming into my prime, mate. You know what I mean? And then, fuck, I wanted to if I could paddle with you, or paddle like you, I'll be going to Jaws, I'll be going everywhere. I'll be paddling around the world. But, yeah, it's been hard for me, for everybody, right? But,
yeah, for sure.
I've like double whammied.
Yeah, it's what's a shame. Well, I want to take a full cycle back because I want to end up where you are now, back in Phillip Island. That's where you're living now. But where it all began for Ross Clarke, because you were born in the Central Coast, right, Terrigal?
Yeah. Oh, well, no, I was born in Sydney. In Sydney. Yeah, in Sydney. But I moved to Terrigal when I was 8.
Yeah.
And grew up and started surfing at 11 years old in Terrigal.
Yeah.
And Foresters Beach, the Central Coast was my stomping ground with Sanger and the boys. And Bill Cellier was, you know, he was my first shaper, and then, he was, that's where it all began for me. Yeah,
because I mean, if anyone doesn't know, the hardcore know that, you know, Ross Clarke-Jones 6'6", 66.
Oh, that was when I was born.
When you were born, 6'6", 66, and that's there's some, you know, magical things that surround that number.
Yeah, I know.
But,
I just can't get a 6 at the casino, though. I swear to God, me and Ockie went to the casino trying to put it on roulette on 6. It was like 30 goes. Wouldn't happen. We walked away. There's your 6.
Classic.
Because Ockie was born on the 16th of the 666.
Oh, wow. That's close.
So we had no chance.
Yeah, you could take some takeaways from you two characters for sure.
Yeah.
And so you were born there, and then how? Like, what were you like as a kid growing up? Like, were you're like high energy like you are now? Like, you get into mischief? Like, was it? Like, how was Ross Clarke-Jones growing up?
I got away with murder, actually. I was not literally, but I was a good kid. I was a good student. I listened to the teachers, and I did what I had to do, and I've navigated my way through high school, and I left to by year 10, I think it was when I was 16, I had enough, and I wanted to go surfing. I wanted to go, you know, wanted to meet the stars, Rabbit Bartholomew and Gary Kong Elkerton. You know, they were the heroes, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, that's where I got to go up to Queensland. And I went up there for 4 months and lived up there, and I met Gary Kong Elkerton and Rabbit, and they were like larger than life, you know. And that's where I got my, my drive to go, oh, this is what I want to do. I want to go, I want to live like these guys. I mean, these guys are having fun, you know, and they're surfing and they're doing what they love. And, you know, their styles are a bit different. Like, you know, Rabbit was like, oh, yeah, you know, and Con was like, oh, beating down his chest and stuff. But, and there was some colour in there that I just was attractive, you know.
So was that around the was MP still was he still around at that stage?
No,
or?
I didn't get to meet MP. No, I think he was. I don't know where he was. He went under. I think he went under by then. It was just. It was 83. I went there. Yeah. So I don't know where MP was. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see him. So. Yeah.
And then so that you were like straight out of high school up to the Gold Coast, which I mean, it's what I did as well from Costello. The same path. I think so many people have done that because it's the bright lights. It's got everything. You know, as a kid, you're like, it's got some of the best waves in the world. It's got the casinos. It's got the partying at Surfers Paradise. It's just like everything boiled into one. You know, it's warm water, hot chicks. It's just like the melting pot of like that surf industry, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was living the life at 16. I went up there. I had a little flat I was going to go on the dole, but my father said, I'll pay the dole. Just go enroll in a school. So I went to Palm Beach Currumbin High School without any, guidance or with any parental, control. Yeah. And I was out of control. I had a little motorbike, and I was getting into all sorts of strife. But and then Rabbit and Kong got me with Quiksilver back then, my first pair of boardies, and I was sponsored by Quiksilver, and I had these. There was a star system, and I had a 1 star, so I had to start at this 1 star thing. It was really cool, and it feels like yesterday.
And then what about at that stage? You love surfing. You've got your heroes. You want to be like them, but like, is it right? Are you focused really in the forefront, like you want to be like this, or is it at this stage is it still like I'm just fucking around, like I want to live the lifestyle, like because at that stage the guy there is a tour, right? On 83 there's a tour, like when were you doing contests at that stage, or was it just like
I was competing, but at that stage the only way to get sponsored was to come through the amateur ranks and then get on the tour. So I went through the amateur ranks. I was state champion. Then I moved to Queensland to become Queensland champion, which was I had some backlash of that because I'm a ring in, I was a blow in, and I moved up there, and so I got to the Australian titles that way. Yeah. Because I missed my heat in New South Wales. So anyway, eventually I got to the world titles, and I got third. In the world titles, and that's when Quiksilver stepped me up and put me on the tour, and that was 86. Wow. And that was after Mad Wax. It all came together all at once. We did film Mad Wax. It was that film from Quiksilver, and then I got third in the world titles, and then it was I think Harry Hodge and I can't remember who's that said you guys are both going on the tour. Mike Sainsbury and myself. So he won the world title, and he was like a little shit, I'm like, fuck you. But we were rivals and brothers at the same time, we pushed each other.
And what age are you at this stage? When
we're 18.
18. And so you were, let's go back to
actually 20. It was 1986 we went on the tour. So.
Yeah. Because I'd like to go back, because Mad Wax was such a, like, especially in Australia, was such a, like cult video, what I mean? Like it's just such. What was it like being able to like film something like that with? Because with Victor, Thomas, who mate Victor was in there. I mean, because
mate, think of it. I've gone to Queensland. I've met Rabbit and Kong, but then I came back to Terrigal and finished high school. So I did the year 11 and 12 back in Terrigal. So I completed the HSC. So I did that, and then. The last year at HSC, I was filming Mad Wax. And then I got to meet Tom Carroll, and then I was filming with Kong, and then Sanger was meant to be the Wiz, right? And then, and he was kind of lazy, he's like, fuck that, whatever. And I just kept surfing in front of the cameras and had the drive to, I wasn't even included. I'm like, fuck that. I'm going to be in this film somehow. And I just kept showing up to the film shoots. Who's this dude? I go, he's sponsored by Quiksilver too, man. Anyway, I got in that way, and I ended up becoming the main character in Mad Wax, and then Elko was like, fuck you, and it was a vehicle to drive Kong's image, and it actually drove mine, which was really cool. And then I rocked up to see Tom Carroll. I'm like, oh, he's a little fuckwit. But now he's one of my best friends, because he was so on himself, He's like, but he was the world champion. He was like,
he was the man.
He was the man, and he fucking knew it. But I love him to death, I've come to hung with him for the next fucking 30, 40 years, So.
Yeah, I mean, I remember as a kid myself, like in 83. In 83, I'm 6 years old, so I was born in 77. But as a kid, like my walls were plastered with Tracks magazine, cutouts, this and that, and the majority was Quiksilver. For some reason, I feel like everyone gravitates towards a brand for whatever. I think it's your favorite surfer, and at that stage, for me, Tom Carroll, right? He was the man. He's from Australia. Yeah. Goofy regular, didn't fucking matter, right? It was just like he was from Australia, world champ.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, guys like yourself and Kong and that, and like then we'll talk about Danny Wills later too in the All Down the Line movie. But like like it's the same thing. And what you had when you were that age is what I had when I started to do that. It was like you meet Tom Carroll and all these guys, and you're like, oh my God, like it fires you up, because you're like, oh wow, like I can get to where this guy's going.
Yeah. I needed to find a different route because I wasn't that good a competitor, but I could do it. But my passion and love was for big waves always from Terrigal Haven and Foresters Beach. I'm going, fuck, there's never a contest in big waves.
Yeah.
And I was fucking jumping around these little waves, with my sort of physique wasn't really suited to that at that stage. I was like, fuck, I just can't get on these little waves, can't generate speed. And I just had to get through that stage to get to big wave surfing. And it was tough to that's why it's like looking at Gary Ogden going, I like his rawness style, and that's what I gravitated to. And he wasn't that good a competitor in the early days either, but it was the image stuff, I thought maybe I can follow that route. And that's what I tried to do.
Yeah, because Terrigal is like, if you look at the coastline there, like Central Coast has some like really good big waves, and they cop a lot of swell there. So that was a question I was going to ask was what age did you gravitate towards knowing? Because I think you always know. Everyone that I asked that's a big wave surfer, they were just the guys where their dad just threw them out there, or they're like, hey, you're just doing this, you're doing that, and you either get through it and you love it, or you're scared shitless and you don't want to go on the ocean ever again, and it's the same when I've asked Mark Healy and a bunch of the guys, the same sort of answer is just like, my parents would take me down, or you had someone that you looked up to that would drag you out, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh fuck man, I love the feeling of this,
Yeah, I guess you always know, right? Since I can remember, my father used to take me to Balmoral bars. We used to live at Mosman. So he used to just drag me down to Balmoral bars, which is flat water, right? So he just chucked me in the water. I'm like, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, I can even remember that going, that's how I used to wake up. And I didn't want to get out of bed to go to Balmoral. And then we go to Manly Beach, which is the surf, And he was like, let's go you want to go for a swim? I'm like, Balmoral. And he goes, Manly, rough days. You call it rough days. And I was like, yeah, I jump out of bed. And then we go to the surf. And that was like, I can remember being drawn to the white water and like the rough days. That's what he used to say. And and then by the time I started surfing, like 10 and at Terrigal, it was just a little beach break. But then there's the Haven, Terrigal Haven out the back. And that's where I could see these massive waves. I was 11 years old, and I defied my mother going, look, just stay inside the beach break. And I paddled out there at 11, and I went, this is the shit,
Yeah.
And it was probably 6 feet back then, but it felt 20 feet for me.
Yeah.
And I paddled out there on my little 5'3" or whatever it was. And I remember coming back in, and my mother couldn't tell whether I was out there or not. I was like, she was, God, you're happy today. And I was like, 11 years old. I was like, wow, the waves weren't big enough. They couldn't get a big enough wave,
Yeah.
And I just kept going out there, when it used to be big south swells, southeast swells. And, all these older guys were like, I was like, what are they worried about? No, like shitting themselves. They're all frothy, And I knew it was my calling, if you like.
Yeah, no, because I wonder how hard that is to know that every time you turn up to a surf contest, you hope it's giant, but you're going to these small spots, but you just want bigger and bigger stuff. But being on tour. It's good for, like you say, it was good for the image. It's good for sponsors, and probably in the back of your mind, it's a way that you're going to get to Hawaii, right? Because there's contests in Hawaii. Yeah. I'm going to end up getting there eventually anyway. And so what, how was tour life for you back then? Like, was it something that you're on there for 12 years, right?
Yeah. Okay. So I started out at Margaret River, and that was after the amateur world titles, and that was good. And I got it like a 9th or something. And it was like, okay. And then we went to Hawaii. So I got straight into first wave at sunset. I was sliding down the face on this board, and it just didn't work, But I got through the heats, and then I got to this is a Billabong Pro, right? And then I got to it was like the quarterfinals, and it was out in Waimea Bay, 25 feet Waimea Bay, and I was like, "Fuck, this is awesome."
That was the year it got too big, and they moved it. And they moved it to Waimea, and people on the beach were saying, "I'm not surfing." Guys didn't paddle out, right?
Yeah, it was Gary Green and Bryce Ellis opted to not surf, and Bryce Ellis was sponsored by Quiksilver at the time as well.
Good surfer.
Bryce Ellis.
He was a good surfer too, that kid.
No, really good surfer. He was like world amateur champion. He was incredible on tour. And it was Bryce Ellis that I remember when I was in Avoca. And he was telling me, it was actually before I met Kong, he said he told me he was going on the tour, he was with Quiksilver, and I know that was a big influence. So forgive me, that Bryce Ellis was a big influence on me because he was the one doing it first.
Yeah. And
that's when I was wanted to go up to Queensland. But yeah, that first time in Hawaii, I was getting through the heats in Waimea with Gary Elkerton and Mark Richards.
Yeah,
and I was just following them around, like I go, they must know where to sit. And I was just flipping these 710 around, going, this is the shit. And, there was closeout sets, and Almir Zalazar and Rob Bain were getting thrashed on the inside, while me and Mark are out the back. And Squiddy, I don't know if you remember Squiddy on the jet ski, stand-up jet ski, he's going, "Fucking get out, bro!" And we were just paddling over these closeouts. I was oblivious to them. I had no idea. And then I swing around and catch another wave. I remember Derek Donor. He was the lifeguard and the security out there, and he was surfing. So they were on boards, not jet skis back then. And he sort of took off on the inside of me. I'm going, "Fuck, what are you doing?" And he was trying to help Almir and Rob Bain. And, as Double D is one of the best lifeguards, he's helped me so much throughout the Hawaiian seasons, for 30 years, And Double D was like I shit myself because he was like a heavy dude, In fact, I'm like, what am I doing? Am I dropping in? And he just sort of looked at me, going, fucking disregarded me. I didn't know. I was continuing surfing the heat with MR, and anyway, from that time on, I was taken in with Mickey Nelson and Marvin Foster, and going, he's our boy, And I felt welcome, and Eddie Rothman, and they were all welcoming, and the black shorts, they were all, I felt like they were, I wasn't a local, but I felt at home.
I think it's something about feeling comfortable in Hawaii,
It's comfortable because it's like everyone's uncomfortable in Hawaii pretty much, because you have to always put your back. And I just respected that as well. I got off on it. It was like the fear of it. It was kind of it was a family. Like when you see the Black Shorts and Eddie Rothman, what he's done for the Black Short, they were good people, and they're like Hawaiians and they were like little babies singing on their ukuleles and stuff. And they're like, wow, this is not what I thought. Like they're not that. I mean, they are heavy, but they're family, and they respect each other, and
there's a hierarchy, and it's you know, and they made it work, you know, and their vision and what they were trying to achieve was positive, but it just got sometimes painted in a negative, you know, negative light, you know.
Yeah.
So that was probably your first ever trip?
You're in Hawaii, right?
Sorry, I'm in Hawaii, yeah.
You can't say shit. No, the boys are good. Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
So I was going to say, so that was your first trip to Hawaii ever? That the year that you were in the Billabong Pro and you went to Waimea? Like what a first.
Yeah. So that was the first introduction. Like I got to meet Mickey Nelson, Marvin, Eddie, and all the boys, and Junior, and Max Medeiros, and like fuck, these guys are cool. You know, like they're a gang.
Yeah.
And they sold me the first car. It was like $150, and they ripped us off, but had no floor. Had no floor like Fred Flintstone, you know. And I was with Doug Silver, and we were just having fun, man.
Wow, and that's the start of that's the first year on tour. I mean,
so first year on tour. So I'm labelled now as a big wave surfer, right?
Yeah.
At the first go. So, he rode Waimea at 710. I'm like, that didn't do justice for my small wave surfing, you know. When the announcers go, hey, Ross Clarke-Jones, big wave, and I'm riding a wave this big.
Yeah.
it didn't look that good. And I tried my hell, you know, and I got a third in South Africa in Durban. That was my first result. And I was like, wow, I'm third in the world, which I was the first contest back then.
Yeah.
Dunstan 500 or something. And then it gradually went down from there. My rating.
So I guess was it because I mean at that stage there's no really such thing as a big wave professional surfer. I'm guessing, you know, like it's more like you surf and there's big waves in Hawaii, but it's not like now, like in what it was. But I mean, you always were dubbed. I mean, even I remember when I was growing up, and even, you know, watching you guys on tour, like you, even though you were doing the tour, you were always dubbed as the big wave guy, which eventually has probably been the best thing that ever happened to you. But at the time, may have not been the best thing, you know.
No, it wasn't. It actually wasn't. I mean, I was trying to get through that period of 12 years on the tour. And then, I gradually got to Pipeline, and, you know, every year I had a good result in Hawaii. I did well in Sunset, I did well at Pipeline, Haleiwa. You know, I never won one, but I just did well. And I spent 3 months every year since '86.
Going back, I wanted to talk to you about that too, because you're one of the, you know, the one thing that I've really noticed with, you know, visiting surfers coming to Hawaii is like even pros, you know, even all the pros, like, they come for 6-7 weeks, but it's for the contest, right? So it's like you come and sort of take, I guess you would say, like take during the contest, take waves, whatever, and then you don't really see many people continue on, spend Christmas, New Year's, hang out, you know what I mean? And there, you know, you do see certain people from around the world each winter, and they do post up and spend time. But I feel like that's like what you have done. You've gained the respect from actually posting up every year, all those years, and they people over here, they notice that, you know, they notice, you know, because you're able to go to barbecues and get to places and be at parties you probably would never get to or meant to be at, you know what I mean? And, but that's like, it's like, but they go, that's fucking crazy Aussie guy, mate. He's my boy, you know, they bring him in and then you become, like I always tell people, go, when they're willing to fight each other, no one's safe, you know, no matter who you are or how long you stayed here or whatever it is, like you can't drop your guard down. You've just got to be who you are.
Yeah.
Like that, you know, they can sense a fraud a mile away. You know what I mean? Yeah, you just got to be who you are and spend time and be respectful, and then you'll either make it or you won't.
Yeah. Well, you end up somewhere else. But I don't know. You know, it was every year. I mean, it was the same. It was nothing changes on the North Shore, but everything changes. It's the people, the transient people. Like you get the tour. There's that first section where all your boys are like on the tour, and then they leave, and then there's nobody, which is incredible. Like through the Christmas period, it's like I think December 22, everybody leaves. Either the locals leave to go to the mainland or to see their parents, or a lot of them, and it's like there's nobody there for a period. And then you get this, there's another group comes, and the Brazilians would come, or the Japanese would come, and you get it like over the 3 or 4 months it was ever changing, and like the swells would just get bigger and better in January usually. Back then, I guess it's changed a bit, but January was the time. It was the biggest, rawest. We used to surf sunset by ourselves, and only a couple of years ago, I still surf sunset by ourselves because everyone was mainly focused on pipeline or something. But there's so many days that I miss Hawaii, man. I really do.
Yeah, well, hopefully see you at sunset this year or at the bay sometime.
You know what? I doubt it. Doubt it from the politics. We're not allowed to leave as Australians unless we've got a good reason, or my ankle. I'm not sure if I can do it. It's like it's fucked up, and it's wigging me out, you know. Because I really want to ride a big wave again, whether toe or.
Yeah, you will. I mean, for sure.
Oh, fuck, yeah.
So 86 you start. So when does like the timeline? Because there's a couple of people in the history of I guess I want to know when toe surfing. Let's move on to that subject. Like you're on tour 86 to, if you do 12 years, do the math. That's like 98. Yeah. Speaking of 98, it
was 86 to 98. No, it was about 95, 96. I did my last one. So
okay,
I guess it was less. But
so through that time period, like say the last few years of tour, and you're spending more time in Hawaii, now when you start, because Tony Ray is a good friend, obviously, and long time. He's an amazing surfer. He was probably on tour as well, right? Was he on tour at some stage?
Yeah, he was on tour. He won events. He was incredible. Yeah, and he still surfs incredibly. Yeah.
So he became your tow partner or partner in crime in those early days. So when did that mash together? Like when did you guys get together and hey, we got to get a jet ski? Do we have one in one in Australia? Are we finding waves in Australia, or is it just starting in Hawaii?
No, it was 95. When I saw Derek Donor and Buzzy were asking me to come out on their
the Zodiac
rubber ducky when they did it with Laird. That were the first times they were doing it. And I was like, oh, fuck, that looks stupid. And I was all caught up on the Eddie, right? I was focused on Waimea every year. It was all about Waimea and sunset for me, riding those boards, and I wanted to be involved with the Eddie forever. And the toe surfing thing, I was like, the first years they did it, I was just like, it looked kind of kooky then. I wasn't convinced. And then they used jet skis the next year. And then I saw them with a jet ski. And I went, wow, that looks fucking amazing, you know? And then I saw, it was 95 that Tony and I was looking for, we're asking Tom Carroll. I was going to go with Nick Carroll, Tom Carroll. Let's go for thirds in a jet ski. And Tom was so fucking tight. He wouldn't put it in. He goes, oh yeah, he just never did it. And then I saw Tony Ray, and I'm like, mate, he spends the same amount of time as me back then. He started to do the same thing. Just staying away for a couple of months. I thought, mate, Tony, you want to go halves? And he was like right into it. And we learned together, and we did it in the worst conditions out Haleiwa and back in Hammerheads, and it was just out of control conditions on these little puddle jumpers, you know. And I was like, that's when we started not surfing pipeline. Going, this is way better. And there was no crowds at all. There was no one out there. I'm going, we get so many more waves, and I'm like, I got so hooked on it. So that was the beginning, and then we started to get jet skis back in Australia. Going, wow, there's a lot of places here, Shipsterns, all these other places around Tasmania and Western Australia. Oh man, it opened up a whole new playground for us.
Yeah, and then I think it's a perfect way to move on to. I wanted to touch on that swell in '98, January 28th. That Condition Black, right? That was the movie. I think it was called, and that famous. You guys were obviously that movie. You saw the two. You saw Jaws, and then also you saw Outer Log Cabins, and then there's that famous footage of you and T-Ray just getting mowed down. But I'd love to hear like just the sort of that lead up to that, and then how that all happened.
Okay, the Eddie was called on, right? We were grokked up for the Eddie. It was so big, right? It was just completely closing out, wave after wave, and Randy Rarick's going, calling the first heat. I always got the first heat. Ross Clarke-Jones, red singlet. I'm like, fuck off. Okay, I'll go. Oh, fuck it, let's try. I probably won't get out.
Yeah.
And I was the only guy that had a singlet. and then like, this is ridiculous. So they called it off. Yeah. And we were filming an IMAX movie called Extreme back then with toe surfing, and this is perfect. Perfect. They captured that footage incredibly, but missed all my waves. But so Ken Bradshaw says, "You want to come out with us through my house?" It was actually Flippy Hoffman's place. And,
Slattery's house at Backyards there.
Slattery's now, and so that was the only where it was. It was illegal to go out at all unless there was a loophole that you could go out in front of your house. They couldn't stop you. So we went out in front of Bradshaw's. We eventually got out there, and I've never seen anything like it. Backyards was like a fucking football field of these waves turned on their sides. And we're just in awe of it, going, oh my God. It wasn't scary. It was a beautiful thing. I was like, we were in awe of it. Going, I've never seen waves like that ever.
Because it was a beautiful day too, right? Like, as in, like the day, like it was a sunny day. It was like sunny, light winds offshore,
light winds offshore, and that was the only place log cabins was not closing out. It was closing out the whole North Shore right to Haleiwa. So just waves going, and there was the only spot, and it was perfect. Well, it looked perfect. And then I caught a couple of good waves. I had 3 waves, and Tony goes, give me a wave. I'm like, fucking one more, please. One more. And then he just took me into that fucking closeout, and I was screaming at him, going, Tony, no. And he was just, fuck you, come on, get on this wave. And then, man, I could see it just walling up for 500 metres down the track. I thought, do I just get off? And there's probably another bigger set back there. I'm like, fuck that. And I'll just keep going. And then I'm holding on the rope. So, Tony, go. I started overtaking Tony on the jet ski. And Tony's just, think about it. He's on the jet ski going, and then I fucking saw the lip hitting, closed on the back of his ski. He got launched. I just kept riding it, like trying to straighten out. And I actually was trying to take a breath, and it was just like I was enveloped in it, but I wasn't getting smashed. I'm like, fuck. When's he going to hit me, And I just kept riding. It was like I was in a cloud, like I was an avalanche. That's what it was like. And I kept going. So I went another 200 metres past Tony, but he got fucking evaporated. Like, it was so heavy. And I was screaming, what the fuck did you do, He was like,
wide-eyed, just like, oh.
He was so shocked. And I was I felt so sorry for him after. Like, we sat on there for 3 hours waiting for someone to get us. with a half submerged jet ski.
Oh, so I was about to say, so you're now like you both find the jet ski and find each other, and what now you're just floating in between.
Hey, I ended up another 200 meters past Tony because I rode the wave out. There's a seat, and then there's a like another bit of a hood of the jet ski, and there was a jet ski like turned over, capsized.
Yeah.
And then Tony just popped up. Like, we didn't even use life vests back then. We had rash vests. we didn't have any buoyancy, man. Like, we were down deep. And
that's crazy.
And Tony, we eventually got on the jet ski. I like with a rope, and there was no rope. It was just everything, shit everywhere. And we just sat on the jet ski for 3 hours, drifting towards Haleiwa. And we went out to sea, and no one got us. And we're like, no one saw us. I'm like, oh man, this is bad, because we were drifting into past Waimea. What's the next one again?
Alligators.
Alligators was a fucking 50-foot left, like 100-foot left, like proper.
And you're like, you're thinking he's going to drift straight into the lineup.
Yeah, we're drifting. I'm going down with the ship. Like, that was our baby, man. I go, do we just swim in? Like, what do we do? Or swim out?
Yeah.
And it was fucked up. And then we go, hey, we brought our cell phone. There's a cell phone on the ski. I thought, let's ring someone. After 3 hours, we worked that out.
How is the cell phone still alive?
Yeah, and it was working. It was in a little airtight, watertight compartment, and we rang up a friend, and then they went to Noah Johnson's. Was Noah Johnson, Ken Bradshaw? They were all at the Slattery's house, and my friend went down to get the boys going, what the fuck? Ross is out, Ross and Tony are out there, we'll help them, you know? And it was Sean Briley. Oh, no, Noah came and found us first. Going, what are you guys doing? Oh, fucking help us, man. So we went back and got Sean Briley and Kavika Stant.
Oh.
2 big motherfuckers.
Giant.
Like giant. On a little ski to tow us in. This is okay. Why did you bring it anyway? We eventually, Sean and Nene putted down to Haleiwa, and there was no break in the sets trying to get into Haleiwa. He goes, just ditch the ski and we'll get in there. Like, this is dangerous. So fuck that. I'm going down with the ship. We're not leaving my ski here.
Yeah.
And I was like, submerged on the back, like doing 5 miles an hour between the sets. And we were so lucky to get in. And we got in to Haleiwa Harbour. The cops were waiting for us. Said, what are you guys doing out? We're going to charge you. You go to jail. I went, fuck off. I'm like, And then Sean goes, I had to go back out because there's people dying out there. So they let him go back out. And he went, so that was, we were just, I had our heads down. We were fucking bummed because we missed the whole day, really. Like
and Tony didn't get away.
And Tony didn't get away. I was fortunate to get 4 waves, right? And Tony never got one. And when I saw the footage, I was like, I felt so bad because I was screaming at him, going, what the fuck did you do? What did you do that for? You know?
Yeah.
And I felt like an idiot. I felt shameful, like, wow. Anyway, I've apologised many years ago.
So what on the scale of swells since then, because back then you're just like, wow, but now with everything that we've seen, like, as in what, like, have you seen a swell since that big in Hawaii, or is that the one that's been the monumental one?
No, well, I think I've seen this wave as big as that. It's Nazare, but I've never seen it again in Hawaii. I mean, it's close, but maybe we've been jaded because all the big swells now. And, because that was the first one we've ever seen out the back with a jet ski. And that's on the skis, it usually always looks smaller, right? Like when you're towing it, I mean, towing to paddling is a different story. Like the waves always look smaller. When you're towing, I think.
Imagine how big Jaws would have been that swell.
Fuck. I can't believe you guys are paddling it.
I mean, you saw those waves. You saw those waves there, but like on the
it did. Like I think Laird and Dave Kalawa told me, he goes, man, it just didn't get any taller. It just got thicker. It just didn't get taller. It was almost unrideable because it was
moving so fast and
too thick and horrible, you know.
Yeah,
it was actually rippy and stuff.
Makes me want to go back and actually watch that movie again, just to actually like rehash like what that was like, you know, because that was I mean, I just remember so many of the interviews and that Pat Kelly, who's an ex-lifeguard out here. I just remember watching all those interviews, and when I first started coming here, seeing those guys, I'm like, oh, that was the guy that was in Condition Black, you know, and it looked just out of this world big. It's been like, you know, like the first time I surfed Waimea in the Billabong Pro, I've never seen it like that again either. It's kind of one of those things when you see it first and you're like that, it's like that's etched in your memory. And same with January 28th, going, fuck, this is the biggest, most beautiful surf I've ever seen. You know? Yeah. Let's talk about the Eddy, because it's such a big part of your story and history, and I know you love it. Like, I mean, it's just I think you've been invited every single year, right? Every single year it's been.
No, I got in after my first year, like in 1986. After that performance, I guess the ICAL family invited me. Yeah, and then I've been in since '87. Wow. Every year I've been invited.
And what was it like, you know, because obviously it's only ran, you know, a handful of times that year, but you obviously won it in, was it 2001, 2001 season, right?
January 12, 2001.
January 12, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that day.
You remember that day. Yeah. Just take us through that, because, you know, that's how long since you've been invited. So that's 14 years.
1987, right? So I was like, you know, I'm invited. I was like, oh, this is cool, you know. So I've got a golden ticket, a pass. Like it was such an honor, and it still is, right? And it's like, that's the thing, you know. Like that was the thing. It's like a world title for a big wave surfer back then, you know. I was like, this is the shit. This is what I want to do. I'm comfortable with Waimea. And I love the place, and it wasn't a competitive format, right? It was a bro down, like you go surfing with your mates in a couple of heats, like, and you can drop in, you can do anything, as you know. I dropped in on you, and it was like, I knew I could win that thing, but I thought it was going to be hard because it's Hawaiian things and you can't do anything. It's like you can't say anything. It's like you just surf and that's it, and you take what you get. And so 1980, I think it was 1990 maybe, when 87. Sorry, 87. There was no internet, right? And I was like, you know, there was rumors going, oh, yeah, there's going to be a big swell. Right? Oh, fuck that. I'm going to Vegas, right? So I went to Vegas going, there's like Quiksilver said, when I got to California going, what are you doing here? I'm like, I'm going to Vegas. He goes, Ross, you meant to be in the Eddie O'Cow in a couple of days. I'm like, are you sure? Is it confirmed or? He goes, yeah. I said, yeah, we'll go to Vegas and I'll go back. Right? Because I never thought it'd be on. And then, so I went to Vegas with Fernando Dorrego from Brazil, the Quiksilver Brazil, and my wife, my mother of my children, before the children. And it was, it was Vegas, right?
Yeah.
All night in Vegas, and I looked on the news, and it was the news going, the Eddie O'Cow is going to be on. Like, I'm going,
oh my God.
Fuck. This is 6 a.m. I'm going, oh no. Like it was real and it was surreal at the same time. I got on a plane without telling my wife and Fernando and got back to Hawaii. I left and don't. So I got back to Hawaii, right? And I got back to Hawaii and the contest was on. I got there in the morning and I was fucking twisted, like from the plane. But you know what? You're 20-something years old. You can do anything, right?
Yeah.
And no worries. And I got 7th. And I was like, wow, I fucked up. I knew I could have won that. And because like the waves that were being taken, I didn't stop big enough. The one the guy was Keone Downing won it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And I was like, fuck. I could have taken that wave, you know? And that's I was like, you know, it's like, so I'm never going to do that again.
Yeah.
To be so stupid and flippant. And so that after that year, I concentrated on just being in Hawaii all the time, not doing stupid, foolish stuff again. But
you dedicated a big part of your life. It's like you turn up and you know the ceremonies on that. It's usually around December 4th every year. It's a Thursday, the first Thursday in December, and then it rolls for 3 months till the end of February. And you basically, as an Australian, you get 90 days to go to Hawaii without a bit. So you turn up right before the ceremony and you ride it out the whole year. If you're going to, and you surf sunset, do your thing every day, surf Waimea when it's 15, 18 feet and hope to God that there he goes. And lucky enough,
so many times it got cancelled, right? And because I'm like, Eddie's going to come. And it was just like this energy running through the whole island. It's like, it's amazing. There's nowhere else like it, that energy of a wave coming, right? In Hawaii, like there's waves coming, and it goes through the whole island like electric, you know? It's like this anticipation. And then you get to the thing, you're looking in the dark, and then it's not big enough. Oh, God. Like another year, it didn't happen. Like, this went on for 14 years. And I just go, what? It's never going to happen again, you know? And then it happened on New Year's Eve. And I'm going, oh, fuck, really? Okay, New Year's Eve, I'm trying to sleep at the Turtle Bay. You know, you're trying to be good, like get away from the fireworks, and then just fireworks go off at the Turtle Bay. I like can't sleep anyway. I was like, no, this is useless. And that was the worst year I've ever done. And Noah Johnson won, right? That was that year, the New Year's Eve one. Yeah. And I was like, because I was putting so much pressure and like, God, it's been so long, you know? And I knew I could do well in it. And I love that place. And I love the whole scene, like the Aikau, it was spiritual home of, you know, I've never been a spiritual guy really, but that brought something out in me, you know, that Waimea Valley and like the Hawaiians. I'm going, wow, this is another level of family and a good energy, you know. And I just really loved it. Anyway, so took till 2001 to win it, and then that was the year I'd given up. I was like, oh, fuck this. I'm never going to win it. I'm over it. I'm not over it.
You sort of let it go.
I'm like, you know, Jeff Bushman came, he shapes all my guns for the whole time, right? And he's knocking on my door going, Ross, the Eddie's on. I'm like, oh, really? You sure? And I go, this time? He goes, yeah. Your heat's your first heat. I'm going, let me just get a cup of coffee and I'll meet you down there. Can you bring my boards? He goes, what are you doing? And I was so calm. And it's the calmest I've ever been. And like everything came to me, and it was like the sets come to me and whatever. And it was really easy. I guess that's you know, and it took a month to realize I'd won it.
Mm.
Maybe because I was partying after, but it's you know. But seriously, it was a long time to have a dream like that.
Yeah,
and actually, you know, take
the cool thing about that is that when you listen to the people, they're very similar. When they win, they say that that Eddie picks the day. You know, Eddie's just you, and you just have it's your day for what. There's no rhyme or reason. You go out and things are happening. You go to the channel when you shouldn't go to the channel, and then there's a wide one comes to you, and you're too deep, but that's got a chip in. It's just like fuck, I can't do anything wrong, right? You know, like you all have those type of days throughout the years, like where you're just like, man, I can't do anything wrong, and there's other times where you're like, I fucking can't do anything right, you know. But to have a day like that on the Eddie is just, I mean, I think it's a number of things, you know. I think it's a dedication, it's a lifelong dedication. It's putting your time in like you did all those years, and understanding the respect, like you say, like, you know, not a spiritual person, but there's something about that spot. You can feel the mana when when you're at the ceremony, when you're at Waimea, you're looking at the valley, the sun's rising, and it's mightn't be the biggest wave in the world right now, like with everything that's going on, but it's still fucking heavy as shit, and that takeoff is gnarly, and there's just something about that wave. It's the birthplace of, feels like it's still the birthplace of big wave surfing, you know, and you've got, and like, you're probably the most successful guy, to be honest, because you were second the last year, the Brock Swell, the year that I was lucky enough to be able to surf in it. Yeah, and we were in the first heat again. Yeah. As you said, the first heat.
We'll go fast forward to that. Like, that's exactly what you say. You know, like, I remember you were the fucking best paddler in the world, right? No fucking hands down. And you were like the first wave, right? It was you and me in the first heat. And it was like, fuck, I always get the first wave. Every Eddie, I get the first wave no matter what. And I've done it. And I just like fucking straight into it, no matter what. Either go over the falls, take off it. But that wave, I was fucking pointing like, that's the biggest drop I've ever taken in my life.
Ross,
you were fucking already down the bottom. I'm like, how the fuck did you get on that so quick? Because you're a paddler, right?
No, it was, I mean, there's some cool angles on Instagram. You've seen that pulled back version looking at Kana Point.
Yeah.
Like that wave, like, and that's the thing, like, I think it's so hard to win the Eddie from the first heat because that wave we got a 38. And it's one of the best waves I've ever had out there. Like, it was so heavy, doubled up, steep, everything. And even the guys on the water patrol at the end of the day, they're like, Jamie, they goes, that fucking first wave was nuts. Yeah. You know, but if that wave was in heat 5, we're probably getting an 80 or a 90. You know,
or even the last heat. You know.
You know, but hey, that's just the way it is. And like you say, like if you
that's
try
the way it is. I remember, like, and then I did it. It was another one. Was that the same?
Same, the first heat, first heat,
First heat, and we got another one together.
Another one, yeah.
And you were going to pull in.
Yeah.
But I was in a fucking prime spot, you know, and you're like,
I actually wasn't going to pull in, but when I saw you there, I sort of went, I was like, I'm going to get out of it, you know, but like you say, you know, like you just, it is what it is. And I mean, I finished 4th, like in the first Eddie. I beat Kelly Slater was 5th.
Yeah,
John was 1st, you were 2nd, Dorian was 3rd, I was 4th, Kelly was 5th, McCool was 6th. And I'm just like, oh, you know what I mean? I'm just like, oh my God, like, that for me too, I wasn't even a surfer at the start, you know. So for me, it was like a dream as well. I was like, and you think like I'm never going to get in. I'm on the alternate list for like 10, 12 years, and then you get on the list, and you're like, well, it hasn't been on, and then all of a sudden you get, you know. Then that year we had the fake call again. We turned up. Quiksilver spent all that money, no waves, flat, like dead flat, and then you're like, oh God, this is a curse again. And then all of a sudden, Brock, God bless his soul, sends us that ginormous one at the end of February, and we're on, you know. And after doing the one, I want to do it again. Like I want to. It's crazy. It's such a like walking down. It's a Coliseum.
Sorry, we're cutting each other off.
No, yeah, go for it. You go.
We did in the ocean. Let's drop it in. Oh, fuck, that was good. I mean, that was the best. I mean, that was the best Eddie I've ever been in. I mean, it's for everything, the whole drama of the crowd, you know, that was a pinnacle of the Eddie, you know, for that. It's going to be hard to do another one like that. I mean, they're all different, but that one was so special.
It was, yeah.
And you know what? Like, I was winning till the end, and then John got the second. I was like, you know what? I don't care whether win or lose. You know, like fuck, we're a part of this, and we're like this will go down in history as the best one so far. And I looked at the check and $75,000. That'd have been nice, you know.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I spent a week in Waikiki after that, and like the people of Hawaii go, man, that was the best fucking Eddie ever, and it was just so rewarding. That it was better than any money or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, walking down the beach, it's no better setup. The Coliseum, the energy, the people walking along from sunset with their coolers and chairs, and to get there and watch it. People camping overnight, and just talk about when a big swell's coming. Just add the word Eddie to a swell event in Hawaii, and it's just I'm getting goosebumps now. That electricity and the energy just goes through the roof. You know, like there's nothing like it. You know, and I could die a happy man doing the one. You know, of course you want to surf in more, but I got the surf in one, which was a dream, and it was potentially the best one ever. Yeah. You know, and I got some good waves. It was just like fuck. There's nothing better than that. You know.
Yeah. Hopefully, it's still running, right? They're trying to still do it, but you know, and I haven't been there. I haven't been able to get back to the ceremony since, and it's I miss it, man. It's like it's the start of the winter, you know. It's like what do you call it? When the Olympics is the fucking fire thing, you know.
Flag bearer.
The fire bearer. It's like, yeah, it was. I mean, yeah. Hopefully, there'll be more of those. Yeah,
for sure. So I would like to transition, because we've been going on for a while about the Waimea, but so we should. But like you have a newfound love affair for Nazare. Well, not newfound, because I remember you were there, right? One of the first times before it had been surfed, I think, and you guys looked at it and didn't think it and walked away sort of from it that day.
Well, fuck, that was the worst fucking. That was the worst decision I've ever made, I think, because it was, maybe it was the best decision I've ever made, because I saw Nazare in 2000, whatever it was, a couple of years before Garrett went there, and I saw it. It looked like 100 feet and just like pipeline, like that left, and it looked like 300 feet. Like, I swear to God, it was so big and beautiful, not a wind or anything. I've never seen it like that. And and I'm going, it was kind of an illusion. You know, what's the deal with this place? I was going to the beach break. I'm going, and I was with Jose Gregorio. Yeah, he's the one who invited me the first time, and we looked at it, and I go, fuck, can we go there? And he goes, the ski's not that good. And I'm like, fuck, well, just get me one, and I'll just go on the beach or something. And I'll walk around. That was the first idea. And I go, oh shit, we might be able to get you. And apparently the Army or the Navy wouldn't let you go out there anyway. It was like illegal or something. And I was like, fuck it, let's do what base jumpers do. Let's do it. And I was with I can't remember who I was with. There was a crew of people. And we're all frothing, and we're like, let's get out there. But we didn't. We went to some other left. I don't know what it was. It was half the size. It was fun, but nothing like that. Yeah. But yeah, and then didn't go back till 2010, I think. 2014 maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2014. So, and I got one wave, and the jet ski broke down. I rented all these drivers. I rented the ski. I rented everything. The ski broke down. I got one wave, but it was a good one, a really big one.
Yeah, because you've spent a lot of time. And you love Europe. I know you love your fast cars, and you love you go drive your cars at the racetracks, and you got you've spent a lot of time in Europe. But you've sort of transitioned how you used to treat Hawaii into Nazare per se to Portugal. You were spending a few months a year posting up there and just shooting back and forth.
Yeah, I did that a lot because I mean, there's since the paddle movement's come in again, toe surfing's been sort of backseated. So you couldn't really tow jaws. You couldn't tow. It was like everywhere you go, there's people paddling. I'm going, fuck. I wanted to tow. And I mean, I really enjoy towing that much. And Nazare was like all tow, only tow, and there was no one there. There was hardly anyone there. It was Garrett and a couple of guys, and I'm like, fuck, this is a good spot, you know?
Yeah.
It was like something new. I'd spent, 34 years in Hawaii every year. And they're going to I always wanted to do a season in Europe, but I couldn't because of the Eddie Aikau. It was too far to go, and I was so committed. Then I made the decision, going, you know what, I'm going to post up in Nazare. And I bought a car. I bought a Porsche over there when I was 2006. And I've been driving on the racetrack at Nürburgring. So it was like, that thing was just, that was my two passions, driving, going fast in the car, you know, like in the racetrack, and then surfing Portugal. I was like, wow, Europe's got it all for me for now, you know. So I was kind of reinventing myself. All engines, go.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Because, you know, it's, you know, I mean, I like, I mean, you've seen you're one of the most legendary big wave surfers we have in the sport. I like because people think it's a burger, right? Like that whole thing of like Nazare is a burger and this and that. Like, I mean, I want you to explain.
Yeah,
it looks like one, but what I tell people is I go, when that thing breaks and burgers, the thing where it breaks is already 60 feet. Like, it's, you know what I mean? It's not much burgering down. It's like a 60-foot wave that breaks and then pushes down, you know, but what like, if trying to explain to people, even surfers that actually know what they're talking about, that still comment and go, it's a burger or this and that.
No. It's like hey, you know, like I gotta admit, it is mostly the majority of waves are burgers. But then there's these ones that are not fucking burgers. The one that Kai Lenny got, tell me that's a burger, man. Tell me that's a burger. That's not a burger, man.
The Kai Lenny is the perfect example when that one wedges up and goes right. So
yeah, Kai said that too. He goes, the majority are burgers, right? And it looks burgers. But it's the movement of water. It's a different wave, right? It's just so much water and so much energy and with so much speed. That it's just it's an awesome thing. It's like, you know what, I'll ride that burger any day because it's a different, you know what I mean?
You haven't seen anything like the water on the inside. Like, you're punching 20-foot white waters, and as you're coming down, there's a 20-foot wave coming sideways, and then there's one coming from the other, and you're like, where do I go? Where do I go? I've got nowhere to go, you know? It's crazy.
Boxed in. Like the ski, like driving the ski is another...
Scarier than it's a gnarly thing.
Surfing, I reckon. It's just that, I mean, I've never, touch wood, I've never flipped one, but man, it is fucking... Oh, it's hectic. It's just the best word for it is hectic. It's like you said, there's waves going everywhere, and there's like gritty sand on the inside, and it'll fuck your impeller, and like, wow. It's, I miss that too, you know, like, fuck. Just driving the ski in that shit's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. What's, you had that really bad wipeout there where you went up on the rocks. Just give us a rundown on that. That looks sort of like...
You know what's funny? It's like, it wasn't even that bad a wipeout. Like, it's the days that...
It was a position where you fell.
No. I actually jumped off, right? I jumped off the wave. Like it was one of the last waves of the season. I had my biggest wave in my life in January 18 of that year. You know, one of the best waves I've ever got, Nazare, for sure, and like a right-hander. Like, and then like we're a bit all complacent last swell. We're like fooling around. Like, it wasn't that big. You know, it's like whatever. And I was with Carlos Burley, and I was like, I'll go right. And I was way down the beach, nowhere near the rocks. And like really? I sort of, it was my first wave, and I was like, fuck. I sort of just jumped off because I was too deep. I'm like, whatever. You know, I sort of mistimed the turn a bit. And I just jumped off, and then I was dragged underwater for about 300 meters towards the rocks. Because I didn't pull my vest, right? But the airlift, I should have pulled it right away. Because if I probably pulled it, I would have got washed to the beach. And I just didn't feel the need. Because it was like a conveyor belt. Because it was so small, it was smaller. The water was trying to drag you out through the rocks and get out, escape through the closer to the cliff. And I eventually pulled it because I was under for quite a bit. I'm like, fuck, okay, I'm under. I should pull it. I pulled it, and I surfaced almost against the cliff. And I was like, what? How did I end up here? You know? And then I was like, okay, I got to cruise now. This is critical. I've never been here before. Like, no one's ever been there before in that area. And I thought, okay, this is new territory, but I've got my airlift on. I'll be fine. Right? I was all puffed up. Big puffer fish. And I was just like, I got slammed against that rock, and went over it, right? And it was like, you know, it was like inflatable breasts that just sort of, you know, and it cushioned me from the blow, and I went over the falls on between the rocks. And you know what? I'm like, wow, that was a bit weird. Like, okay. And I'm going, and then I kept getting washed back out and then slammed back in. And I was like, I can't get out of here, you know, this is heavy. And like another critical thing, I didn't do my strap up of right? And the airlift was just like coming over me and nearly drowning me, and like that was more critical than anything, you know, more crucial. And then this went on for 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's just like, that's funny how the energy sucked that way, like across and into the rocks. Yeah. And when it was smaller.
I think it was because it was smaller, the rip was just moving that, you know, the water needed to escape that way. And it was the direction of the swell or something. And I was very lucky. I was like, I banged my head, but I had a hood on. It was a bit of rubber, and I was like corked my thighs, like because it pushed me into the rock, and I just went over it. But other than that, I was fine. You know, I was like,
other than that, I was fine.
No, it was just like Terrigal. It was like Terrigal when I was a kid. Like Terrigal Haven has got tube rock. Like we just used to get behind the rocks. Yeah. And the waves used to go over you. I mean, I'm sure you've done it. All Australian kids have done it. Like they get behind the swell, and it's like tube. You get tubed, right? So I a flashback to that. I'm just going to sit behind the rock. It'll be fine, you know? Yeah. And that's what I did. I was like this is okay. It looked so critical that, you know, it made the headlines everywhere, right? Yeah. And I'm going, because when I felt it, I'm going, it's not that, wasn't that big a deal. But when I looked at the footage, I'm, fuck me, that's heavy, you know? Yeah. And then, you know, eventually it was like a pinball, and then it goes down the hole, and I got out. Yeah. And then I had to climb up the cliff. Like I was sliding back down the cliff. That was the worst thing. I was like, no, I'm going to fucking die here on the cliff. Oh, my God. And then I got up and I had spit all over my face. I was all white and going, oh, fuck. Because the thing about it, I hadn't had a coffee yet. It was the first wave. The first wave, I went through all that shit. I'm going, fucking hell. I'm done. That's it for my season, you know?
Yeah, I'm done. That's a sign.
Yeah. I've got away with, you know, the funny thing, ironically, I didn't pull the vest all season, and there was a lot of big swells. Yeah. I hadn't got wiped out the whole season. I didn't get on the inside. I didn't get touched. I had dry hair almost. Crazy. But that just fucking boom.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Hey, I want to touch base on what was talking about at the start. You got onto the Australian Survivor Series, and you were doing awesome. And then you were on a swinging rope which broke. I guess their fault and snapped your ankle in half. Is that right?
Oh, mate. That survivor thing was like an incredible experience. It was a once in a lifetime thing, and I'll fucking never do it again. I wish I never did it, actually. Like, the experience was amazing, but what's happened to my leg and my life and my career or whatever, like it was like I was doing so well on that. I was like, you know, I was telling all the producers and stuff, like, I don't know what's going on, and like, I'm just a dumb surfer. I'm like, you can't tell. I mean, I can't talk about it much, but I was sitting pretty. I had my boys and I had the girls. I was in there with everyone. I didn't have any enemies. I was like, I can navigate through this, no problem. This is going to be, it was easy in the end. I thought, fuck, I've got this. I'm going to win this fucking easily. Because you don't talk too much, you don't fucking you just got to sit in the middle and you don't win too many. Like, I could hold my breath. People like, didn't want to be in the water and shit. I'm like, yeah, this is perfect. But, you know, and then that happened. Like, the rope, it was like an easy, what do you call it? It was a swing rope. It was a immunity challenge, as they say. And it was like Tarzan swinging on a rope. And it was the easiest part of the challenge. It was like poles you have to jump on. You could have snapped your ankle any one of these other things, but this rope, like, I was the third guy to go, or fourth guy to go in succession. And that thing, as I went to the platform with my full weight, 90 kilos just going smack, and the rope broke as I went into the platform and took all my weight on my ankle and just snapped my foot back and did all the ligaments and that. Hey, I've never experienced pain in my life like that. And because it was, you know, it's like, and then it got worse. And then they took me to the doctors and they went, yeah, you broke an ankle, you're out. I'm like, fucking what? I was all jacked up on painkillers and stuff. Oh, well, fucking get me home. You know?
Yeah.
And then it's been May 30th I did that last year. And it's been that long. I haven't surfed since. And I've been through all sorts of shit. I'm like, okay, fuck, I'm okay with this, you know. And then so I'm not okay. Like, this is, like, I've never been depressed in my life. Like, fuck, I got so depressed. Like, I was fucking sitting on the couch, like, caging this beast.
Yeah.
Like, from this fucking ankle, you know. And I thought, yeah, I can come back, no worries. And it's just so long. I'm like, fuck, this isn't, I'm not, okay, yeah, I can do it. And then it was come to the toe contest in February, the WSL thing. I was like, I'm going to, you know, I think I haven't surfed yet, but I'm going to go. And then the physio goes, fucking don't try. It's out of my hands. If you go, it's on you. I'm like, he goes, mate, there's no way unless, I said, look, I can just fucking get there and fucking, you know, like, I'll do it. Like, fuck it. Fuck my ankle. But then June 17th this year, I tried to ride 6 waves on the toe board, and my fucking leg felt like a rubber thing, like foreign. I couldn't come off the bottom. And if I went to Nazare, I would have fucking died. I swear to God. I would have gone straight. Like, my mental things, I can do this, but like the body and mind wasn't syncing. Can you imagine that? And it's been like, it's just been so long. And this lockdown thing came after. The lockdown thing, I'm like, oh, fuck, cool, yeah, let's be locked down for another year, whatever, fuck. But now it's like, I don't think I can do it again. It's like weird, you know, it's like, it's freaking me out. Yeah,
it's just your confidence and, letting your mind drift to that point of like, am I ever going to do it again? It's a scary place for your mind to go.
Yeah, you know? And then especially when you can't travel, I'm like, well, okay, I can't travel anyway, but do I want to do it? Yes, fuck yes, I want to do it, you know?
Yeah.
I want to do it again. And I'm like, we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, well, good. Yeah. All right, buddy. Well, I've got 5 I finished the podcast off with 5 questions. And you can answer them however you want. The best big wave in the world.
Jaws.
The gnarliest big wave in the world.
Nazare.
Most underrated big wave in the world.
Waimea.
One big wave you haven't surfed that you want to tick off the list.
Cloud break. Big cloud break.
Big cloud break. Good question. And the next big wave discovery, like what Nazare's done. Like where do you think the next region or spot there's going to be like the next big wave?
It's in Galicia, and Ashley Munyon knows where it is. that's what I've been doing we're doing a documentary up there before I got hurt, and we were going to come back and do that. And he's still finding spots up there. So
crazy.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Ross, man, I really hope your ankle gets better. Let's pray that this COVID thing goes sideways and Australia opens up. You guys can get to Hawaii. Won't feel like the same without having a surf without sunset. So let's hope that.
Hopefully I get there in a couple of years at least before I'm 60. Okay, brother.
All right, buddy. Thanks, mate.
Thank you. Thanks for the time.
See ya.